Welcome to Fuck Your Feelings.
It's September already.
I know.
The summer just fucking flew by, man.
I woke up this morning shivering. I was like, well, fuck, summer's over.
What do you got for heat?
Sucks. Baseboard.
Electric or hot water?
Electric.
Oh, yeah, that sucks because now your power bill is just going to go up and up and up.
Yeah, I mean, that's shitty, but it's also shitty that it's going to be fucking freezing out every fucking day when I go to my car and shit.
Yeah, true.
Scraping off windows, shoveling snow. Not fun.
Yeah, I get you. Fucking, oh, do you have any Samsung devices?
No, I don't think so.
Because Samsung got hacked.
Really?
Yeah, it was, I think, the 22nd of July they got hacked. See if I can pull it up here. I might have put it in the Discord. I think I put it in tech. Yeah, there it is. Samsung data breach ensnares U.S. customers. The article was posted. What's today? What? It says it was posted by Michael Can on the 3rd of September 2022 at 2:59 a.m. Today's only the 2nd.
Maybe he's in Australia or something like that.
Yeah, I guess. It says a hacker infiltrated Samsung's U.S. systems and may have stolen information on customers. On Friday, Samsung sent an email alert to affected customers about the breach, which occurred sometime in late July. On or around August 4th, 2022, we determined through our ongoing investigation that personal information of certain customers was affected.
So we're just finding out about this now? Interesting.
Yeah, they had a whole month, right? And the email that I got at the bottom of it had all the credit bureaus like Equifax and TransUnion and stuff like that, all their contact information at the bottom of it. And I'm like, that doesn't help your accountability because you were exposed a month ago and now you're just saying yeah, you might want to check your credit. Because think of all the people that have active Samsung accounts, right? You imagine how many phones were bought and people just didn't fucking know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in that month, how many did they sell, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the other thing is not only how many did they sell, how many were activated too. And then we're talking tablets. I think Samsung makes some laptops now. And then the earbuds, TVs,
they make
dishwashers. Phones. Oh yeah, definitely phones. But
yeah.
All the other Samsung stuff that people make, that people buy, right?
Right.
That's a massive line of stuff that people could be there's probably some call center in India right now that has a full brand new kitchen, full brand new living room. You know what I mean? They got all these Samsung devices in the living room. This is what I was, because I told you yesterday that I had a theory and I wanted to get your theory before I wanted to record what you thought of it. Sure. So it's in relation to gas and gas prices. So my theory is that the gas prices being so high, the reason for that is ever since everybody's been stuck at home, they've started to dilute gasoline that's being manufactured in North America. Probably other places, but I'm only in North America, so that's only what I can guess.
You mean the supply and demand has been affected because of the lockdowns?
No, I think they've taken the opportunity when everybody's home to change the chemical composition of gasoline. So now you go through more gasoline in your car than you did pre-COVID, and now it costs more money to fill up your tank.
I think the reason why it's costing more money to fill up the tank is because of the prices. That's
You don't think it's
my
because they're
thought.
diluting the gas?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
There's an octane level, right, that they have to abide by,
Yeah, but
and
who has to
each
abide by them?
the manufacturers. So like if you get like a regular, it'll say right on there how much octane you're getting, right? So the higher octane you get, like a higher premium gas, the better gas mileage you're going to get. So if you buy cheap gas, you're going to get way less gas mileage.
And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because, like, I know that the price on gas is totally, like, I'm not even going to compare that. But, like, my car and my driving habit haven't changed whatsoever. Before COVID, I could get just over 600 kilometers on a full tank. Now I get about 450 on a full tank.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Um, I think also it can be a factor of a car getting older and being less efficient on gas, stuff like that. But yeah, that's an interesting point. I think it should be looked into though, for sure.
Because the routes that I take for drives haven't changed. There's still the same amount of hills up and down, same amount of left and right turns, right? And I mean, my car has been when did I get my inspection done? Last year. So, like, everything's been topped up and cleaned, right? So, like, it's if it was like any problems whatsoever with it, it would have been fixed during the inspection. There's no, I haven't added or removed anything from my car.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can affect gas mileage though.
But I just think that it's weird that that's happening, and I'm sure it's happening to other people, but other people are just focused on the gas price and not how far they're getting on the gas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I would like to see if anybody else is experiencing the same thing that you are. If
Because
anybody
it's
is, definitely leave it in the comments.
oh fucking absolutely, because the only talk people are doing about gasoline is the gas prices. No one's talking about like who's actually regulating, how the regulation process works. I don't know how the fuck the regulation process works. I know that certain gas stations have the octane, like you said, at the pump, but some places don't. So I don't know if it's specific to certain gas stations or companies that have to do it and some companies don't.
I don't think so. I think it's all under the same regulation, but I think some companies don't have to label it a certain octane, but it is the same octane. Like regular is going to be the same octane no matter where you go. Premium and plus is going to be the same octane no matter where you go, kind of thing.
Right, yeah. Now,
But it's
what
supposed to be anyway.
what kind of jogged my memory about that whole theory that I have with the gas issue is because there's actually, you know, the company Circle K, right?
Yeah.
They're buying all the Wilson's gas stations in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and I believe Newfoundland and Labrador.
Right.
So now we only have what? Petrocan, Irving, and maybe Ultramar to choose from for gas.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Circle K is an American company and they're branching out into Canada. I think
Yeah,
that's something that's what's going on because there's Circle K's all over now. Even like Irving's are being switched over to Circle K's.
yeah. Like, and the name they have, it's a French name. It's Couche Tard, but I think that just means Circle K in French.
Could be.
But I just find it funny that all of a sudden that's happening too, because Wilson's, where I'm at, is a huge, like, there's a lot of Wilson's gas stations near me. So now they're all going to be Circle K gas stations.
Yeah, for sure. Monopolies, that's what they do. Just take over.
And it's just, and like, if they are actually like fucking around with the chemical composition of gasoline, it's going to be even harder to crack down on it, because eventually it's going to be just one company and they'll be able to do whatever the fuck they want with it.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing, not related to gasoline, but in regards to like regulations and that, uh, I think you sent me it. I'm not sure. Pierre Polyev, the new law against government jargon,
Yeah,
the one that
against
he's
like
trying to
laws that
implement.
make no sense to normal people.
Because the only thing that I kind of got out of it is there's a lot of CRA man hours being spent following up with small business owners, trying to figure out why they're not doing it properly. And it's just because the conversations that they're having with the CRA is just so convoluted that they can't figure out what means what anymore.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, nobody, like, not everybody has the option to hire a lawyer that can, translate some of these laws and some of these things that are on the books that are in legalese that are completely uh, alien to somebody like you and me. And we're
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, let me just get out the dictionary and like, look up all these different terms and shit, or a legal fucking book or something. But what he's saying is he's going to try and make it so they're using layman's terms so people who aren't lawyers can understand the laws that are on the books, which there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
No, and if anything, it should already be a law, because how am I, Joe Schmo, supposed to know if I broke the law if I can't understand what the fucking law is?
Right.
Right? Like, that's, and if a law is, well, from my understanding, the law would be kind of an unspoken social contract, right? Because no one sat me down when I turned the age of majority in my province or country and broke down all the laws for me. I have to figure out the laws as I go. Well, if I can't figure out the laws as I go because they're so convoluted, technically that law shouldn't really apply to me.
Well, here's the thing. In Canada, and same as in America and many Western countries, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So that means if you don't understand the law,
You're
you
shit out of
can't
luck.
use that as an excuse or a defense.
Yeah.
So that's why I like this a lot, because like if I'm looking at, like, let's say the bylaws of a local city, right? And
Yeah.
it's all in like a bunch of crap that like a layman cannot understand. You'd need a lawyer to kind of translate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out of my way to hire a lawyer to translate all of these local bylaws to make sure that I'm not like getting tickets and whatnot. Of course not. Of course you're not going to do that, because you'd be spending way more on a lawyer than you would in fines and tickets. Like in the city that I live in, you're not allowed to park on the streets. So you can get tickets and get towed and all this stuff. And I'm sure there's a law written on the books and it's completely convoluted and makes no sense for the average person. So what he's saying is like we're going to make these laws a lot more interpretable to people.
Yeah.
So let's say small businesses don't have to hire lawyers which eat into their it just makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I'm all for, I don't want to say dumbing down, but creating, creating a commonality between everybody. So use words that everybody can understand. You shouldn't need a degree to figure out if you're allowed to mow your lawn on Sunday night in July, right? Like, you shouldn't have to hire someone to tell you yes or no you can cut your lawn, because I mean we've all heard of, like, I know it's not the same thing, but like the HOA, right? Like, they have their own bylaws that the community does, and there's a lot of shit going on with the HOAs that kind of bleeds into bylaws outside of the HOAs.
Right. Yeah, I think it's good, but it's also we also don't want to go too far with that either. We don't want to make it so, you know, so like you said, dumbed down that like a child could understand it. We want to I think we should have it so like somebody who, you know, went to school, maybe graduated high school can kind of understand. Not like, you know, a 5-year-old type of terminology. I don't think anybody wants that. But what I think he's trying to do is just make it so you don't need, you know, 10 years like a master's degree in law to understand some of these laws that are on the books.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only issue that I kind of brought up with it is technically he's treading into like free speech territory, because like it's fine if you want to use words to get your point across, but what I think he's doing, kind of, it might go into the area of impeding free speech. But then I don't know if government officials are allowed free speech. I don't know what oath they take, because there's got to be some regulations on what elected officials can and cannot say or can and cannot do. So there has to be, and if what he's trying to do was already in place, I'd be able to just Google it and find out what the elected officials can and cannot do, because I wouldn't have to try and decipher what's going on.
Well, the free speech laws are on the books to protect the people from the government, not the other way around. So, elected officials uh, should not be able to write laws in any way they choose, any language or whatever. The free speech only is to protect the people from the government. So, I don't think that would even factor in. But I don't see any reason why you should not dumb down for to like for to a lesser extent, um at least make it readable to somebody, like I said, without a master's degree in law. It's just very stupid, right? I mean, I understand a lot of lawyers are going to be upset about this because they make their living in translating this kind of jargon,
Yeah.
but maybe you should do what you're supposed to be doing with your degree and, practicing law.
Yeah.
Common
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah. Don't be an overpriced translator. Be a lawyer.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, well, I'm glad we're in agreement with that anyway. I mean, and a lot of the stuff that Polyev has been, putting out there, I have been on board with like 99% of it. I don't really see anywheres he's stumbling or anything. And that's looking at it from like my perspective as, somebody that's kind of like a middle of the road kind of person, like a milk toast kind of, not really a liberal, not really a conservative. And I'm seeing a lot of things that Polyev has been saying, and it's been really hitting home with me. And I know that you told me that you like some of the stuff that he's been saying as well.
Yeah, and it's different for me because I've never been I don't think I've ever agreed with any of the views of the Conservative Party. And I've in the far past, like 10 years ago, I agreed with some of the stuff that the NDP was saying, but well, now we got the coalition going on, so I don't agree with anything the NDP is saying. But yeah, like he's kind of brought back, I don't want to say my interest in politics. I don't really have an interest in politics. I have an interest in self-preservation. I want to be able to understand what the politicians are doing, and he's being more upfront about what he's actually saying and how he's saying it. Whereas other people are basically just promising stuff that it's just money. Like they just want to write checks. They want to make you feel good, right? Where he's basically saying like he wants to go after stuff that doesn't make you feel good.
Right. And just look at this for an example. Take a Justin Trudeau speech that he makes and then compare it side to side to a Polyev speech. Trudeau is just talking in circles and basically talking about feelings and stuff like that. And Polyev is talking about facts and talking about moving forward. You know, it's a complete disconnect between the two. And yeah, it's really been resonating with me, the way that Polyev has been presenting himself as like a change in the government and not just like another liberal sellout.
Yeah, and like I have to say this because I've been trying to figure out exactly what the words were that Trudeau used that kind of sum up his whole term as prime minister. And let's say this. This was an interview that they did with him. The question was simple. What do you and your family do to cut back on plastics? A reporter asked at a press conference. Trudeau, standing before a picturesque lake, struggled to come up with a clear answer. We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of when we have water bottles out of a plastic, away from plastic towards paper, drink box, water bottle sort of things.
I remember that. That's fucking classic, dude.
That is our prime minister, right? Doesn't that just kind of sum up his position on things?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened in that situation, okay? He didn't have a pre-prepared thing that he was supposed to say,
Yeah.
and he doesn't do anything to cut down on plastics. So when he was put on the spot, he was like, oh, let me just try to create something out of my brain. And his brain is fucking tiny, like a pea. So that's what he came up with. That's our prime minister.
And instead of just saying, like, we're being environmentally conscious, he
Right.
stumbled across
Right.
that clusterfuck of, like, word vomit that Biden would normally come out with.
Oh, it's just pathetic. It was pathetic to watch. And this is the guy that's trying to ban plastic straws and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, this guy's at home with his plastic straws and fucking, you know, sucking ass juice out of his boyfriend's hole. You know he's doing that with the plastic straw. So
I didn't know people use straws for that, but okay.
now you know.
Monkeypox.
Right. You're gonna see Trudeau with a bunch of coal sores around his mouth pretty soon. Guaranteed. No, but seriously though, like it's actually really fucked up. Like this guy is like preaching all this stuff and he's not doing anything that he preaches. It's like one of those, you know, rules for thee but not for me kind of people. And that's what we've seen throughout his entire tenure as prime minister. And yeah, it's not getting any better. It's getting worse and worse. But myself not being part of any political alignment for like years, I actually was a liberal about 10 years ago.
Jesus,
And
really?
oh yeah, I was like,
Fuck.
and it wasn't I wasn't even involved in Canadian politics. I thought Canadian politics were stupid. I was like a big Obama guy. I was like, Obama's got to beat fucking George Bush. When Obama beat out Bush, I was like, oh fuck yeah, like the world is saved. You know what I mean? Like I was one of those liberals that was like, oh my god. And looking back, I'm like, I was the people. I was like the same as those people that voted for Biden just to get rid of Trump. I had no idea what I was talking about. I had no idea about politics. I had no idea about policies. I was just going with the status quo and getting rid of like the tyrant, which was like supposedly Bush, right? And I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, we got rid of Trump, and now we got like $5 a gallon gasoline. Let's go. I can't afford groceries. Yeah." Like, think about that for a second. As soon as Trump left office, inflation started going up. How
Yeah,
is that not a coincidence?
yeah. And they're still trying to take him down a peg, even though he's no longer in office. They're still blaming shit on him,
Right.
saying like this was delayed, that was delayed. Well, this gas increase is because
Oh
of what
yeah.
he did 2 years ago. Blah blah fucking blah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the reason why I was talking about me being a big Obama supporter and all that is because now I'm kind of like I feel like my outlook on life has matured quite a lot, and I'm looking at these people that are like big Biden supporters, and they're like, yeah, like we had to get rid of Trump. He was like tweeting mean things and was terrible. Like, oh my god, a big buffoon. But like the economy was amazing, right? Anyways, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, maybe these guys don't have all the answers. Maybe the so-called good party or the party that is trying to like be nice and all this stuff doesn't really have all of our um well-being
Yeah,
in mind. So now I'm kind of starting to take a step back, and Trudeau really pushed me further towards the right, I guess. When really, I don't think I'm any more right than I was when I was cheering on Obama, because I still have the same political beliefs as I did back then. But the Liberal Party has gone further left, and I've stayed in the same spot. So the middle is further left too. So technically, I would be considered right today, which I don't agree with at all, because I have some things that I am conservative about, and I have some things that I'm liberal about. So I feel like I'm one of those fence sitters, and I've been pushed into the far right because I don't think certain things that the left is proposing should be allowed. Like I could keep ranting, but there's a lot of things that you know seemed like complete out of left field 10 years ago, that now the left is like, oh, this is normal, like this is a liberal thing, and no, it's not. Like, it's not.
yeah. And that's like to put in contrast the upbringing between yourself and myself. I've been basically like thrown into politics pretty much my whole fucking life because my father is a veteran. So it's always been like I've always been living on base, living around base, with people whose parents are also in the military or the armed forces. So it's always been something that I've always been constantly kind of going around, kind of thing, right? Whereas you, uh, like you did go to school with, we'll call them army brats, so to speak, right? But you weren't exactly in the same, I don't want to say headspace, but the same political climate that they were in, kind of thing, because it didn't affect you as much as it affected them.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I wasn't like an army brat or nothing like that. But when it came to respecting veterans and whatnot, I was always on the forefront of that because my grandfather was a World War II veteran. So I always had that respect for the veterans in my thoughts and in my heart.
Yeah.
So every time like something like that comes up, it always and especially watching how the government has screwed over the veterans over the years, it's really affected me, and it's just made me um, just really push back against the type of people that would allow that type of thing to happen. Because I know my grandfather, he fought in World War II, came back, and basically the government was like, "Okay, you're on your own."
Yeah.
So he totally got fucked. And hearing my dad talk about how that affected my grandfather and all that stuff, it's really hits home. I mean, you go overseas and you fight for your country, and you come back and the government says "fuck you." No, that's not right.
Yeah, and it's sad that that happens. I don't want to say just to veterans because it does predominantly happen to veterans, but it also happens with like paramedics, and I know police officers, but police officers isn't something I really want to get into because yeah, we both kind of are on the same page when it comes to the police officers.
Especially after the Freedom Convoy aftermath.
Yeah, and it's just to kind of show
I
that.
wouldn't put police officers in the same category as veterans.
Well, no, but like they're, um, we wouldn't, but other people would. You know what I mean? Like they'd kind of say like, um, it, people who take a life and save a life would be the same kind of people, right?
I'm not in the category of people that would say that all cops are bad or anything like that, but um I think in Canada a lot of them are one of those just doing my job type of people, and we've seen a lot of that during the convoy.
Yep.
And I don't respect those people at all, so come at me. I don't give a fuck. Those people can fucking fuck off. And, you know, that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, and it's all about people who, um, I'll use the term honor the uniform as opposed to disgrace the uniform, because there's a lot to be said about putting on a uniform day in and day out and being able to take it off at the end of the day. There's a lot of people who can't do that, whether it be physically or mentally. And it's people that can't do that that are often, I don't want to say the problem, but are often treated like the problem as well.
I think the biggest problem is a corrupt government using the police as their own bodyguard squad
Mm-hmm.
and the arm of the government. And I think any police officer that went and did what they did that day, and we're talking about when they went into Ottawa and forcibly removed people from Ottawa who were protesting peacefully. And I think anyone who did that is, as far as I'm concerned, the scum of the earth. And I don't think that they should have a badge to put on their chest. Um, I could go on. I don't really want to go too far, so let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, and
I disagree with everything that stands for, so.
yeah, and like I said, we're both pretty much on the same page when it comes to
Right.
the people and their actions representing stuff that shouldn't be represented by those people.
Right. It was like a Gestapo type situation.
Yeah. Now, kind of along the lines of policing, This was kind of, I didn't think we'd get into policing, but this is something I also don't think I informed you of. This was posted on CTV News Atlantic. I'm curious to get your point of view on it. It says Nova Scotia to require the collection of race-based data from police stops.
Okay. Okay. So I understand where they're going with this. They're basically trying to make sure that they're not pulling over more minorities than white people or some shit. I guarantee you that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
100%.
What they're saying they're doing it for, it says Nova Scotia's Justice Department is committing to the collection of race-based data by police in an effort to determine if Black, Indigenous, and other racialized communities are disproportionately targeted by law enforcement.
Called it.
And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, I want to see what the term racialized means according to Merriam-Webster.
So I will say this. I'm all for holding the police accountable for their actions.
Mhm.
So I don't dislike this in theory whatsoever. But I think to say that minorities are being overly targeted by the police in Canada, a place where racism is kind of tame, I think is a bit of a stretch. But like I said, I'm all for policing the police because I think that giving people power, they definitely have to have it reined back once in a while.
Yeah. Now, I as you were talking, I pulled up the definition of racialize. So Merriam-Webster says to give a racial character to categorize, marginalize, or regard according to race. They also break down the word racial of relating to or based on a race, existing or occurring between races. I'm Caucasian. I am racialized. By those definitions, I am racialized.
Yeah, but you can bet they're not using that definition.
No, absolutely not. They're going to make up their own.
Of course.
And everybody's going to be on board with it because they think that they're taking the Justice Department at their word. They're not looking into what could potentially go with it. Now, the first thing that I think of when I see that is the social credit score. They're going to keep that information in a database. So when the social credit score gets fully implemented, which they are well on track to do.
Are you talking about racial information?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they don't they probably already have that.
They do, but they don't have it per community, as well as like interactions with authority figures.
Yeah, I think probably what they're gonna do is every time a cop pulls somebody over, they're gonna have to like categorize them into like, how is that even normal? How is that normal? Like, okay, so like a cop pulls over a black guy, right? And he has to put pulled over a black guy like on his thing. Like we're getting more and more into like segregating races. You know what I mean? We're getting more racist by doing something like that. Like, can't you just pull over a person and not think about their race?
Well, here's a question for you. How do we know what information they're going to be collecting? Because
Right.
police
It
cars
could be anything.
are equipped with devices to read license plates when they drive by of parked cars on public streets. So it would be easy for me to say that they're scanning all the license plates to see exactly which races are driving which vehicles and which vehicles are being parked in certain areas. not even talking with any actual people. They're just evaluating their assets and where they place their assets.
Have you seen do you know who Ryan Long is? He's a
Name
YouTuber, comedian.
Oh yes, I think you showed me a clip of his before.
Okay, well, Ryan Long has this video out where it's like the racist and the woke people have like so much in common.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. And I've seen like a lot of reaction videos of a lot of like black guys reacting to it. And they're just like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense because it's basically like, yeah, I think the races should be segregated. And he's like, me too. You should actually link that video because it is hilarious. And I think a lot of our viewers would appreciate it because it really gets to the meat and potatoes of this woke culture bullshit. A lot of the things that woke people believe are extremely racist. Extremely. Like they basically think black people can't even like think for themselves and they have to like control their lives and like make their lives easier. It's actually really, really racist and really disgusting. Like if I was a minority, I would be highly insulted by that.
Yeah. And it's fuck, I can't think of the exact quote I'm trying to use. But it's fuck, what is it? I want to say evil is hidden by good intentions. Somewheres along that is the quote I'm looking for. I can't think of it exactly. But it's basically saying the equivalent of smile to your face, stab you in the back.
Right. And I think it's a type of racism that not a lot of people think they're being racist.
Mhm.
Like not a lot of people realize that they're being racist when they're doing this stuff, but it's incredibly, incredibly racist. And I'm not one to like throw racism all the time because I think, okay, think about it this way. When you're creating a system that is meant to be placated to a certain race and um boost them up because you don't think that they're good enough to be able to do things on their own like get jobs or get into college, or okay, that's one side.
Mhm.
And the other side is making a racist joke. What do you think is more detrimental to the minority? Do you think it's the racist joke, or do you think it is the systematic, basically, system that tells them that they're not good enough to do these things, so we have to boost you up, and you're gonna have to get on the shoulders of these white people to get you into college and get you these jobs? What do you think is more detrimental?
And
Definitely the systematic shit, isn't it?
in the past, yes, the systematic stuff. But
In
now,
general.
now the
Oh,
big
in
problem is the
general.
jokes.
No, oh yeah,
People go
to these woke
through the
people.
roof. Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
if
you're
you make the wrong joke, it could be 100% satire.
right. Exactly.
That becomes a bigger problem to the woke than addressing
Exactly.
systematic racism.
Yeah, but
And that's the problem.
you're talking about it's offensive to basically the people that are the woke people, not the people that actually matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody tells a joke or whatever and somebody gets offended on behalf of somebody. You know, that's the worst.
Yeah,
Imagine getting offended on behalf of somebody.
that's something that's it's always existed, but now it's become so much more highlighted. I believe the term is white knighting. So yeah, I don't know if that's a racist term because you're white knighting. You're standing up for someone.
It definitely isn't, because guys who defend thoughts are called white knights too, so
Well,
regardless of race. So it's definitely not a racist thing.
I got a question for you. It's something that I kind of laugh at like all the fucking time in my head. If you're wiring up an electrical outlet, right? This is totally off topic of what we're talking about.
I was gonna say that's kind of like weird.
It's got a good callback. When you wire up any type of electric circuit, which color is negative and which color is positive?
Black is usually negative and red is usually positive.
No. White's positive and black is negative.
Well, it depends on the type of outlet. Sometimes there's a ground that's black, and then there's a white and a red, and sometimes there's a red and a black.
You're
Depends
missing the
on
point. You're missing the point.
all right. Okay, so white's positive, black's negative.
Right. So why isn't that racist?
Right. We need revision of the color codes and electrical circuits.
And then think about it this way.
Because that is negatively affecting. I don't know.
I
get what you're
I'm
saying.
offended on behalf of them.
I get what you're saying. But that is the kind of thing that they would go to. Like that is the kind of thing that some of these people would actually reference. Which, and people think that might be like hyperbole. It's definitely not. It is not. Because I've seen worse things being like, oh my god, that's racist.
Well, here's one for you. All new computers that are being built all have 20 or 24 pin connectors for the motherboard, right?
Yeah.
So the older computers all had rainbow cables. But now they don't. Now they're all one color. Is that racist? Or it wouldn't be racist. It would be anti-LGBTQ now.
It's definitely homophobic, and I'm going to be one of the first people to speak out about this, and I'm going to put this on Twitter right away, that I think that we need the rainbow back in the computers.
Yeah, we need...
And Microsoft is going to pay for it.
Yeah, we're going to...
Class action
we're going to
lawsuit.
rewire the computers, and Microsoft's going to pay for it.
Class action lawsuit. Microsoft, let's go. I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to get all the pin connectors back to rainbow. Let's see if we can do it. It's gonna be called
the Ally Initiative.
That sounds perfect, actually, because that
Gamer
sounds
Ally Initiative.
Yeah, that sounds actually so much better. You know what? That could actually, we could probably make so much money.
Hold up.
Start a GoFundMe. Do it right now. Put my bank account down there because I need the money.
I made a little joke. I don't think you caught it. A gamer, Ally, I Initiative. The gamer Ally Initiative.
GAYMER.
No.
Gamer.
How the fuck do you spell initiative?
Shit.
Now here's one. It kind of bleeds into we'll say trying to equalize trades. So I seen it on saltwire.com. They say the federal government is investing more than $28 million into helping small and medium-sized enterprises in Atlantic Canada hire apprentices in Red Seal trades.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, why isn't information technology in that group? There's no Red Seal certification for information technology.
Interesting. I didn't
The
realize
Red
that.
Seal trades would be like welders, plumbers, cooks, electricians, carpenters. I'm sure there's linemen, boilermakers, stuff like that. But there's nothing for the information technology side of things. So that's being kind of buried just in general. because they're not calling that a trade, when in reality it is.
Right. Definitely is.
And even mechanics would be red seal trades,
Yes, they would.
but
I had
cars also
a
have computers in them now. So
I had a friend
why?
who went through his whole Red Seal thing for mechanics. I had a friend who went through his whole Red Seal thing for being a chef as well.
Yeah. And it bothers me because that's one of the fields that I'm in, is the information technology side of things. And I'm basically I'm the negative wire. I'm not the positive wire.
Well, yeah, you would think that they would be putting more money into something like that since, it is the future. I mean, computers are going to be running our entire lives someday, and there's still going to be programmers. There's still going to be IT people. Those are some of the only jobs that may still be around when everything is automated. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we should be putting money into.
Yeah. And it's like, if you think about it this way, if you walk out and buy a brand new top of the line car tomorrow, there's thousands of dollars worth of electronics in it, and you're taking it to someone who's not certified in electronics to fix the electronics in it. They don't fix it, they just replace it and charge you through the nose for the replacement parts, because they're not certified on it.
That actually leads into another interesting topic. Have you seen the price of replacement batteries for electric vehicles?
No.
You might as well buy a brand new vehicle.
Yeah. Well, that
The
was
batteries are 90% of the price of the vehicles, if this is what I'm looking at, because I've seen, oh my God, okay, so this guy had his vehicle and the battery died. It's an electric vehicle. The battery is fucked. He
Yeah.
needed a new one. And it was like, I think it was like $30,000 for a new battery or some shit.
right. Yeah.
So we're all going electric vehicles according to Trudeau, right? Someday in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's going to be a huge gap between the upper class and the middle class then, because there's going to be a lot of people who can't afford this shit.
Now, there's a couple, I don't know one YouTuber's name, but he was on back when Vice was good. He was getting in shit from Tesla because he was taking Teslas that were wrote off and Frankensteining them together to make a functioning Tesla. And
Nice.
Tesla was coming after him because he was using their, at the time, proprietary technologies to make another Tesla for himself.
That's kind of interesting.
Now, the other, that was a YouTube video that I seen, I want to say 6 years ago. More recently, you probably know of Jerry Rig Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been watching his Electric Hummer series?
No, I haven't watched that for years.
So he bought an old military Humvee. I believe it was part of the Iraq deployment. And he's basically, as far as I know right now, he's about 90% done converting it to a fully electric vehicle.
Interesting.
It cost him, I think he said, around $75,000 to do it. And that would include the purchasing and shipping of like the original Humvee.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's just like, if YouTubers are making their own vehicles, we all know YouTubers, when they hit it big, they make money. So if they're making their own vehicles, that's got to be like a flare in the sky for everybody else kind of thing of what's coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
All right. Well, I probably have to run, but it's been a good topic, I think. I think we got through quite a lot today.
we went through, yeah, pretty much everything. Because as the week was going on, I was just fucking. Anytime I was twiddling my thumbs, I was just thinking of like what to fucking talk about. Because generally,
Right.
we just kind of wing it and spiral, but we kind of spiraled in a good way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, because I still have a few topics in my head that I'll have to write down for next podcast.
Well,
But
you have
yeah,
the link to the Google Doc, right?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Send it to me again. I probably have it saved, but
Yeah.
send it to me again just in case.
Yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, in the meantime, it's been fuck. Have we been? Is this episode 11 or 12?
I'm not sure.
That's we'll say what 3 months of.
We should start numbering them again because we're gonna be like 2 years from now, be like, which episode was that again? I'm not counting them all again, bro.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, well, if it's good enough for Joe Rogan, it's probably good enough for us, I think.
Yeah, we're not gonna do season 1, episode 1. We might do like
Nah,
episode 3, 4, 5. We'll
just
do
keep
that.
just keep going on the episodes. Just be like episode like 500 someday.
We'll start labeling them now.
If we make it to 500, yeah, start labeling them now before we get too many that we have to count them all. Can you imagine? Actually, it wouldn't be too bad on YouTube. We just have to go through and just like count the rows, right? Because you already know how many's in a column. You just have to count the rows, I suppose.
Yeah,
And
true.
I guess it wouldn't be too bad. But anyways, until next time.
Peace
Talk to you
out.
later.
Stay fit and have fun.
Oh God.
And that, my friends, was fuck